Hi there. Welcome back to Energetically You. I'm your host, Megan Swan. I am the creator of the Sustainable Integrated Wellness Approach. Here we talk all things healthy habits, abundant mindset, and optimal wellness. Today I have the pleasure of talking with Jill Valentine. Love that name. She is co-founder of the social enterprise UGO Travel for Change and author of the book Dare to Be a Dandelion, who I can't wait to hear about that title. She became a transformative travel and social impact coach following over 2 decades of work and volunteering in the charity and nonprofit sector and becoming a certified professional coach. She has led life-changing coaching programs around the world, helping her clients gain clarity, confidence, and a deeper sense of self while impacting local communities in Belize, Nepal, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and Tanzania. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to dive into all of this. She is the creator of the UGO Triple Change Model, whose 3 pillars include change yourself, change your community, and change your world. So let's dive in. Welcome back to Energetically You. I'm here today with Jill Valentine. I love that name, Jill. And she is one of the co-founders of UGO Travel for Change and has an extensive list of experience of amazing adventures and different types of coaching that she integrates into her work to help inspire. I actually don't know from reading the bio if it's only young people or only women. So I'll let her explain all that to us. So thank you for being here. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Very excited.
So tell us a little bit about your journey as to how you became this amazing, inspiring coach. Your work sounds so fulfilling.
Awesome. So I worked for years in the nonprofit sector, charity, all of that good stuff. And I just felt that I wanted a little bit more. And I ended up through a pretty crazy ride up to a camping trip, suddenly deciding to spend a year volunteering in Uganda. And I went about 6 months later, and it was the most incredible year, both professionally and personally. I had gone with a guy. We got engaged while we were there. I ran the first National Disability Sport Summit. My background is in disability sport, and it was just the most amazing time. And then I came home and actually became really, really depressed and didn't know what I was going to do, felt like I couldn't go back to sort of the jobs and the lifestyle I had before, and decided to become a coach. And after I finished my coaching certification, which was just the most incredible experience and transformation and growth for me, everyone, of course, asks, like, who are you going to coach? What's your niche? And something about volunteering, giving back, just kept resonating. And so I went to the Philippines for a month to actually volunteer myself and to interview volunteers about coaching and all sorts of stuff. And I just started realizing that volunteering abroad was one of the most life-changing and transformative experiences you can have. And so is life coaching. And if you marry those together, oh my gosh, like the results are crazy. Yeah. So I became a transformative travel and social impact coach, and I now lead coaching programs that include a volunteer experience abroad as a tool for transformation and personal growth, and at the same time creating social change in the local communities that we volunteer in.
Wow, that's so amazing. I wish I had found a program exactly like that. I mean, there were lots of volunteer programs that I was aware of, but I feel like you have a sort of next level integration with the coaching. So who are you serving usually? Who are the types of people that come to your programs?
So really it varies, but ultimately it is that person that is sort of looking for more, whether they're looking for more purpose and meaning in their life, looking to give back more, looking for more community and connection. And so it really varies. We get entrepreneurs, we get professionals, people working the 9 to 5, just have kind of maybe worked 15, 20 years and kind of going, this is it. Like, I worked up the corporate ladder and I'm just not feeling fulfilled enough. Or there's entrepreneurs that are just like, I've always wanted to give back that little bit more. And this is an amazing opportunity to go abroad, to serve a community, and to think about how else they can continue to be of service in their life and everything like that. We get empty nesters who are sort of like, who am I? My kids have gone. I'm no longer, a needed mom at home, and are just a lot of people looking for that self-discovery and that time to really figure out who they are and what they want to have happen in their lives. So it's very varied, but ultimately it's people who like a bit of adventure. We do go abroad, people who are excited to give back, learn about themselves, and connect with an amazing group of people.
Wow. Can you speak to, because you did mention your own experience when you came back from Uganda, I believe it was, and you just, I'm projecting, but I'll ask you that you definitely had like sort of you were on a high and it was like a deep drop emotionally. Can you speak to how disconnected we are in our modern culture in terms of community, and I would argue to ourselves as well, and like what you learned in Uganda that was so transformational for you?
Yeah, so I came home, and even though I was engaged, which should mean I was like on top of the world, I just felt a complete lack of purpose, definitely a lack of community, a lack of adventure. I mean, actually it was through my coaching program that I discovered what my values were. And so much of it came from reflecting on my time volunteering in Uganda. And I came to realize, I was like, I am missing all of those things in my life here in Toronto. And so my choice is kind of like move back to Uganda or foster all of those values, in Toronto. So seek more adventure, create a life purpose, build my self community, which is what I did. And there is definitely, I think a lot of people experience this when they travel abroad or volunteer abroad, this culture shock returning home, especially when you've, had your eyes opened to new perspective, new cultures. It's what makes, travel so ripe for transformation. But we see the world differently. We go to places that really value, community, raising your family with a village. They really value family. They value, real connection and things. And that was really difficult to kind of come home to and be in an environment where it's all about the hustle and the 9 to 5 and people complaining because their, GO train is late. And it's difficult to return to. And that's one of the big reasons so I have a business partner that we really do the programming that we do, which includes coaching before, then we go abroad, and then we come home and we continue coaching, we continue the program, because this coming home experience can be such a transitional period and a time to sort of implement the stuff that came up and to dive deeper and to make changes in your life, and to help you understand what this jarring experience of coming home is all about and how we can sort of improve it and kind of use it as a stepping stone to create the life that you want.
And that's wonderful that you bookend it, because I think it's that much more transformational one, and then people feel like held in a container the whole way through the process. I can definitely speak. I'm from Canada, but I've been living in Mexico for 12 years now, and one of the first things that I observed was this obsession with time that we have in modern culture, right? And even in Spanish, you don't say, there's no such thing as wasting time. That's not a phrase. You have lost time. It's like, nobody controls time. It's just like, I don't know what happened. I was, in a deep conversation. Who could possibly say that that was more or less important than my other event? And it's just being more present in the moment. I feel like I've experienced that in many parts of the world. And yeah, but at the same time, when you're so used to the other culture, it can be really frustrating and draining at the beginning, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's so many things exactly like that. They just, if it's raining, the meetings are just going to start later because it's going to take people longer to get there. And everyone's just okay with that. Like, I feel they're not, I remember we'd schedule like maybe 1 to 2 meetings a day. Like there's not this idea of like back to back to back and like cramming all sorts of stuff in. And there's not this emphasis on like uber crazy efficiency and everything. And yeah, I loved that life. I loved the sort of a bit more relaxed way of living and appreciation just for each other, for nature, like so much of that. And I agree, having traveled extensively myself, we definitely do have some issues here, sort of in sort of the like Canada and the States with obsession around things that just aren't innately healthy for us as individuals or as a people, as a community.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the 3 pillars that you use in your work and explain how you developed that system?
Absolutely. So we have a model called the triple change effect model, and it's about changing yourself, changing your community, and changing your world. And it really is this idea that we kind of start with this deep dive into self to really help understand who we are, understand our strengths, our passions, all of the things, all the bad things too. I don't love the word bad, but all of the things that might challenge us in life as well, and getting sort of a good understanding of that and creating more of a service leadership mindset, and kind of realizing the possibilities. And then the idea is through that, you can change the relationships that you have, which will also continue to change you at the same time. And that's relationships with family, friends, and your community. And that can literally be your neighborhood that you live in or your sort of community at large, wherever that may cover. And that's also about how are you showing up as, again, a service-minded leader, an inspirational person that's, helping and improving your community, the people, the relationships you have. And then from there, it's about that idea of taking action and actually changing your world. And we mean that in that sense of what can we do to give back? How can we become lifelong change makers? How can we either serve, whether it's the community abroad that we visit or your own local community, but it's about taking action, figuring out how you can be a powerful change maker using all of your resources, whether that is relationships or skills or talents, to make a difference. And those are the 3 sort of pillars through which we kind of take people and explore. We do all sorts of different exercises, first on Zoom, and then when we're in country, we continue with the coaching. And it's all also based on a foundation of our 3 pillars of happiness, which is a sense of gratitude, a sense of purpose, and nourishing relationships. And those are embedded in everything, all of our programming that we do.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the healing power of gratitude. I'm curious, how much do you encourage or guide people to have like an agenda going into their experience, or like, they think they know or they want to change a specific thing or learn, take away something, and maybe they're not going to get that out of it. So is that something you need to manage, or how do you approach that?
So we kind of look at it more like traveling with intention. So we don't want to set any like crazy hard outcome-based goals. What we do is help them come up with action based goals. So we will talk about sort of what's your intention? What do you hope to get out of this program? For example, we're running a program called Courage Community Kilimanjaro. Some people want to build confidence. They want to conquer that mountain. Others, it really is about connecting really deeply with themselves or making new relationships. And so we talk about what can you do? What actions? Because we can't, like you said, you can't control the outcome. But we can say, hey, what are you going to do to step out of your comfort zone? Let's talk about some specific items and things you can do when we're abroad. And, we talk about how deeply they're going to dive into their, personal self, because that's a big piece. We say to people with the coaching, because some people can get a little scared and things, we say you go as deep as you want, but obviously the deeper you dive, the more you're going to get out. So it's kind of that idea of having an intention, but we definitely talk about being open to all sorts of possibilities and learnings and growth. And we have lots of different facilitated conversations and stuff to allow things to percolate and get distilled down, and all sorts of stuff like that.
I love it. What, do you have like a standard timeline of these excursions, or is there a big range in terms of how long people go for?
Yeah, so usually it's a 3-month coaching program. So we coach over the 3 months, and in the middle of it, we do either a 1 to 2 week volunteer experience abroad. Generally, if we're on this side of the world, we've headed down to Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, and we've done about a 1 week, like a full week of, including both weekends on either side and the 5 days in between. And then when we do head further abroad, like Tanzania, it's a 2-week in-country experience. In that particular case, it's 1 week of volunteering with the Dare Women's Foundation and 1 week climbing Kilimanjaro. Plus the added travel days, you're looking at, more like a 2.5 week excursion. And then again, we come home and continue coaching for about a month or so. So in full, the coaching program's 3 months, but we only actually travel abroad for 1 to 2 weeks, because we know that that's reasonable for people with jobs and families and everything to be able to take that kind of time off.
Yeah, I bet. 3 months is a good container for huge transformation. I'm wondering if you can share like some sort of anecdotal story of your personal experience in one of these countries, of the effect that you've had on the community.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, with Dare Women's Foundation, this incredible woman, Maggie Duncan, she's just this incredible change maker, powerhouse, and she actually runs a social enterprise. So she's one of a handful of women who runs a female owned safari company, and she uses the profits of that to actually support the Dare Women's Foundation. So she's amazing. So we connected with her and we said, we're going to bring a group and we want to, come and visit and connect and serve. What can we, what do you need? And she actually literally cried on our phone call and said, we've had so many people come. Nobody's actually ever asked us what we need, which is actually one of the big issues with a lot of international development work and everything. And she said, we could do with a perimeter fence. So they have this beautiful, she has this beautiful piece of land. She envisioned building a women's shelter on it for women escaping domestic violence out in this rural area of Arusha. And she said, we want to grow, some plants on it for food. We want to, build the building. And even before that, sort of like a small chicken coop and all sorts of stuff. So we can start supporting the community more, just in terms of even food and things. And so she said, we need a perimeter fence, or else animals will come and eat anything we plant. And if we go to build, people will come and steal our supplies. And we said, cool, that's what we can help fund and bring our, energy towards. And so we hired an amazing group of local contractors that we worked alongside with. We had the women from the Dare Women's Foundation coming and cooking us lunch every day. And it was just the most incredible week of bonding and helping. And we got to help with the lunches and help with the fence. And since then, we've been, in touch with Maggie very frequently, and she's constantly sending us photos of, we planted some bushes and trees while we were there, and she's showing us pictures of just what is taking place inside this perimeter fence. And there's ton of like foliage and food that's growing. She's got this big coop that's full of like, I don't know, hens and chickens and bunnies and all sorts of things. And it is being used to help support this community, and with the future plans of building on our return trips, the actual shelter and stuff. And so it's just been so rewarding to actually physically be able to see that, you know, our time and effort and energy and resources went towards helping this community and creating this beautiful impact. And we're still, you know, connected on social media with a lot of the women and people there, and just, you know, continuing to see them thriving and doing awesome has been incredible. And actually, we've been continuing to support them because they have been struggling a little bit more, especially with COVID and not being able to run her safari company. So we've done some other small fundraising initiatives to be able to support them during this time too.
That's so incredible. So I love you sort of have these communities that you keep in touch with and you continually go back to and build relationships and projects with them in the same
exactly
yeah. It's so inspiring, and I'm sure the people that go through your program just have mind-blowing transformations, particularly for people who have never traveled to these type of places. It can be pretty eye-opening and really helps you put things in perspective, and often makes it easier to focus on what really is important to you. Is there anything you wanted to share with us? Any parting words before we tell them how to find you?
Just, you know, as you mentioned, it is so incredible, and the transformations are everything from people have come back and had incredible conversations with their children that have changed their, you know, family dynamics and relationships. People have come back and changed jobs because they've got more clarity on their values. We've had people, you know, dive more into change making and supporting their community. And that's honestly one of the most fulfilling parts, aside from seeing how we impact the community, is seeing the transformation and the changes that happen. And so, yeah, we are running the Courage Community Kilimanjaro program again in early 2022. And we're so excited. We're half sold out, so there are a few spots available. We only take 12 people to keep it a really intimate group. And yeah, it includes climbing Kilimanjaro, which I've now done twice. It's incredible. And then, yeah, we've got some exciting stuff happening later in that year, including a program to Ecuador called, oh my goodness, it's Expand, Explore, Experience. And it's going to be amazing, helping to rebuild a school in a local community there. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff happening next year. We're so happy that we hope travel is going to be able to open back up, and we're going to be able to continue to transform people's lives and the communities that we visit.
They sound like incredible projects. I'm so excited for you, and I'm sure they're going to sell out, especially now. People are just, needing to reconnect on a whole other level, and also travel and get out of their comfort zone in different ways. So we'll share all of those links in the show notes. But in general, what's a good way to get a hold of you?
We have a community called the More Community for those looking for more out of life on Facebook. And we also have a UGO Impact Facebook page. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Instagram. Connect with me in any of those places. I'm always happy to jump on a call and chat with people about what we have going on.
Well, thank you, Jill, so much for sharing your story and all your amazing work. I wish you the best of luck, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you so much, Megan. This has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you.